So, guys, welcome everyone to 27th Surat MuleSoft meetup. In today's topic, we are going to discuss two fresh concept or components which has been introduced by MuleSoft. One is MuleSoft Runtime 4.4 and Transit Gateway, and also we are going to see aggregation capability or aggregation module with MuleSoft basically. Okay. So if you see recently or not recently, like 2 3 days back, MuleSoft has released a MuleSoft Runtime 4.4, right? So which providing a lot of improvements from the tracking and the logging purpose. And apart from that, it also done a lot of improvements in DataWeave, like it added new DataWeave functions and new DataWeave modules. We'll discuss about a transit gateway. So a transit gateway has simplified the network basically. So if you want to connect to multi data center basically, or you want to connect to multiple systems located in different data center, right? So how we can use the transit gateway to simplify that network basically. Then we will talk about aggregation module. So basically, we will discuss about time-based aggregator, size-based aggregator, and group-based aggregator. Basically, so these are the three things we are going to discuss. So myself, Jitendra Bafna, and I have overall 13 years of experience in APIs and the integration technology. Currently, I am a MuleSoft ambassador and Surat and Nasik MuleSoft meetup leader. And also, I am starting one new meetup group that is like exclusive for student engineering students basically. So I want everyone, like, you can also participate, and also like you can publish that group to your any, if like anybody in your contact who want to learn MuleSoft basically. So I have published overall 300 plus videos on YouTube and 50 plus articles, and I have expertise in like setting up MuleSoft platform, doing MuleSoft Foundation like Cloud, like customer roasted Mule runtime fabric manager, having expertise also in application integration using API-led architecture and event-driven architecture. Also, I have expertise integrating a various system like Salesforce, NetSuite, ERP, Snowflake, Database, and SAP. And like apart from that, I also do some pre-sales kind of work, plus like consulting, where I can like help the customer to create the roadmap for performing the digital transformation, and like enable the digital transformation basically. Yeah. So that's all about me. Any query? Anybody have any query? No, right? So let's start. So agenda we have already like discussed. So let me discuss agenda at high level. So we have already complete with introduction, and now we will discuss about Mule Runtime 4.3 new features. We will see some of the demos also. Then we will see like what things has been changed in the correlation ID and what is MDC logging. So recently MuleSoft introduced MDC logging basically. What is that? Then we will discuss about transit gateway, aggregation module, then there will be quiz. So what is MDC logging? So MDC stand for mapped diagnostic context. So basically what happens, so like with MDC, what you can do, you can enrich the logs by providing extra information about your logs. So generally I will give one example. So basically, generally what happens, you using your logger component and you are doing the logging into your like a MuleSoft console or into a logging file, right? But if you want to enrich the log, like if you want to like search the log, right? So what you can do with MDC logging, you can send some variables with your logs. So whenever you want to search the series of events, so you can search on the basis of that particular variable basically. So I will show you how we can enable this kind of thing. So basically, map diagnostic context enrich the logs by providing more information about the events in the log. So you are getting more information. Currently, what you do for searching the logs, you may use the correlation ID. So, but it is difficult to remember the correlation ID. So you can use any parameter from your request. Let's consider a transactions ID, maybe some any unique identifier, and you can send that with your log. So it will make the log searchable easily, basically. Okay. By default, if you see whenever you do any type of logging, what it does, it simply log the processor which shows the location of the current event, and it logs the event, which shows the correlation ID of the event. I will show that. And MuleSoft has introduced a tracing model in Mule Runtime 4.4, where you can send the extra information with your logs basically. Okay, so you can send the extra information with your logs, so you can easily search the log. Even if you are sending the logs to any third-party system like Splunk or ELI, you can send those extra information to those logging tools also. So whenever you want to search, let's consider I want to search the logs on the basis of account ID, all the events for that particular account ID. So what you can do, you can enable the MDC login and you can send the account ID as the variable, and then finally you can search the log on the basis of account ID. I will show that example right now. Okay, so what you can do, so let's consider I say file new mule project. So basically you make sure you have a 4.40 enterprise edition. If you want to download, what you can do, you can go to help and you can go to install new software, and just you click on this site, and apart from that, then you can see Mule Runtime for Anypoint Studio, and you can just download the latest version. Right now 4.4.0 is already downloaded in my Mule Runtime Anypoint Studio, so it will not show. In your case, if you haven't, it will show. Okay, so I will create a project, file new Mule project, MDC logging example. Let me start the Mule runtime also. So I will go to my Mule runtime. Let it be start. So basically, what you have to do, by default, the tracing module is not available in this, right? So you can like install from your Anypoint Exchange. Okay. So I will say HTTP listener. I will configure the HTTP listener. Okay. I will say test. Then I will simply use a logger component. Okay. And you have to say payload. I'm just logging my payload. Let me, okay. So let me export this file. Let me go to console. Okay. Export. So I will deploy this application. So I will go to apps folder in Mule Runtime. I will deploy this application. So application, let's application to deploy. This is my request, UUID. I can put some UUID. That's fine. So let's see if my application got started, and let me send the request. I got successful response. Let me check what it has been logged basically. So I can go to log file. So MDC logging. So here, like as I mentioned, if you are not enabled the MDC logging, it will log the processor. Okay, what is the location of your event, and it just log the event ID. That is the correlation ID. But I want to log some extra information. Right now, it haven't logged that, right? It like this is the default logging which is done by MuleSoft. But in 4.4, they have introduced a mapped context, a mapped diagnostic context kind of logging. So what you can do, so for that you have to do few changes. Then you have to set some variables here. So in tracing, you have a set logging variable. You can set those variable at the start of your flow. Okay. And I want to give some variable name. So I can say UUID. Then I can say I will read this from attributes dot query params dot UUID. Okay. So this is what I'm logging. Then the next setting, what you have to do, you have to go to log4j to XML. Okay. In log4j to XML, you will see a rolling file appender. Okay. Within that, you will see a pattern layout. So by default, it logs processor and the event. So remove this. Okay. And simply write percentage MDC. That's it. Okay. So save it and I will simply say export. Okay, so I exported this. Let me copy this file again. I can go to apps. It will redeploy. Let me check. It's redeployed, I think. Okay, let me send the log. I will send 2 logs. Okay, we'll change the UUID. Let me check the log file first. What happened this times? This time it has also logged, by default it log correlation ID, which is the event ID. Then it also log the path, processor path, and it also log UUID. You can see that. So it logs some extra information. So let's consider I have some series of event, like, let's consider I also have, it make the searchable easy. So I have some more logger component here. This is logger. This is logger. Okay. Then I will say, I will simply put test. I will simply put test. Okay. So just simply put the test here. Then export this. Okay. So let me show you. I think this will clear the doubts more. You can go to application. I will deploy it. You can see it in Anypoint Studio. So for that you have to enable the console appender here. A console appender. Right now I am using file appender. That's why. Okay. So application is deployed. Let me send the one request with a 25 UID. I will put 28.9. Let me send the second request. So let me go to logs. Okay. So if you see, this UUID is same for all the 3 loggers, right? So this way you, like, searching of the logs will become easier for you, right? So basically you are introduced, or you are sending your custom variable or custom value to your log, so you can basically. So that's why MuleSoft has introduced a component called tracing basically. Okay. Apart from that, it also come up with some other component, like you can remove the logging variable and you can clear the logging variable. Clear, like if you are putting the clear after this log, and after that you are putting any event, then it will not log that UUID, right? So remove means it will completely remove that variable from your log basically. So that's a difference basically. Any question on this MDC logging? Is this clear how to do the MDC logging? The first thing, like, you have to change your log4j to XML, where you have to make the percentage MDC, and the secondly you can use the set logging variable. Any question on this? See, it's work logger. Its logger is never. It's always async, right? Because it's using the log4j to .xml. No. See, this is not about JSON logger. JSON logger is different thing, right? So even see, this is like, there is no comparison between this and JSON logger. Like, with JSON logger, here it's like, I will simply, what I will tell you, like, basically, it's a completely a different concept. JSON logger is different. It's a different concept, Victor. Like, if you see here, we are just adding extra, like, here it doesn't do any changes, like like where what JSON logger do, it logs the lot of information, right? It logs a lot of information. Here the information is the log in the same way as the previous, but it's adding some extra like search option basically, Victor, right? That's the only difference. Like, apart from that, I don't see any difference basically. Only like searching is improved here, like, like if you have 1,000 of record, 10,000 of record, and if you want to find a series of events for that particular request, right? So you can first search that like whatever custom ID or variable, and depending on that you can find all the logs. It's as simple as that. wait, Victor, I will come on that. Like, let's wait for that correlation ID. Let's wait on that. Okay, let's go step by step. Like we have now, I hope everybody understand like what is the use of the MDC logging, right? So let me go with second, a correlation ID. So what happened like in the previous till 4.3, so you don't have a like option where you can go and modify or like you can use the custom correlation ID. So generally MuleSoft generate a UUID, basically a universal unique identifier. Basically it generate automatically, right? But you don't have any option where you can go and generate your own correlation ID. So that option is not available basically, right? But with 4.4, MuleSoft has gave a control, so you can generate your own correlation ID. So there is an option where you can generate your own correlation ID. So why we want our own correlation ID? So there might be possibility some of the organization might be having some format for correlation ID. Like some of the organization may support some kind of length, like 10 characters or like 12 characters of the correlation ID, not more than that, right? So that is why a MuleSoft introduced a concept called code, like a custom correlation ID, where you can make use of your own, or you can create, or you can generate your own correlation ID, basically. Okay. So let me show. So MuleSoft has again introduced a component called correlation. So basically, let me show that correlation. So this is something called with correlation ID. I will show this also. The first thing what I have shown you here, if you see, if you in this in this request, if you see it here, so this is the correlation ID generated by MuleSoft basically, right? In case if you want to generate your own correlation ID, what you can do, let me show that. So in that case, you go to global element, you can say create configuration. So earlier we used the configuration for assigning the error handler. Right now, you can use this particular correlation ID generator. So I can say now and edge string. So I want in this particular format like YYY MMDDR minute second. Okay, so here you can previous in 4.3 you will not see these options, right? So now what will happen, MuleSoft will generate a correlation ID in this particular format. Let me check. Okay, let me save everything. I will copy this and I will go to apps. I will paste it. Okay, let me send the request. Okay, let me go to logs. Here you can see the correlation ID has been generated in this particular format, basically, right? So you can see that. So previously it is using UUID, right? Correlation ID, but now it has generated in the format which we have decided. Okay, any doubt on this? Correct. Yeah. It will generate, see, it will generate its own correlation ID, COSIC. Yeah. So it's not about override. It will generate, like MuleSoft will not generate. Then like once you define a configuration with generate correlation ID, MuleSoft will not generate any correlation ID. It will be generated by the flow itself, basically within the flow itself. Okay, there is a one more component, like if you want to trace the request, like so if you want to trace the part of the request, like this part, like so there's a new concept introduced by a MuleSoft with correlation ID. This is the scope, so I can say this scope, and I want to execute this logger component inside this, and I want to like one more, and I want to execute this logger component inside this. So now it's saying like correlation ID. So basically I will show you like, it's a scope. So I want like this particular logger component or this particular events get executed within this scope. So for this particular do logger component, there will be a different correlation ID. For this particular logger component, there will be a different correlation ID. And whatever outside this scope, there will be, automatically generated a correlation ID, which we have defined in the global dot XML of configuration in the global elements basically. Let me show all this thing with demo. So here I will say start flow basically. Here I want to define the correlation ID. So I will say scope 1. And plus plus I will say now and string. I will copy this statement. Here I will define the correlation ID for this also. So this I will make this as a scope 2. Save it. I will export this. Let me deploy this. My application deployed. Let me send. Okay, I send the request. Let me, sorry, I don't want to open this. I want to go to logs. So here you can see like start of flow. So it uses the like whatever correlation ID which is generated at the start of flow. Like we have defined in configuration auto or like correlation ID generated. That is that ID. And the second like this is correlation ID generated within the scope 1 basically. Scope 1. Okay. Like this is again scope 1. Then later we have a scope 2 also with logger. So you can see that scope 2. Then it comes outside those correlation scope, it will show the original correlation ID basically. So you can see that, right? So that is how you can make use of this correlation component, component in your mule flow. This is very important, like when you are executing any transactions or like, if you are executing the request within some multiple flows, right? You can define this scope and you can, and whenever like if you want to group some kind of events basically, right? So you can group within this correlation ID basically. So that is why this correlation ID component is important, right? So these are the things which has been introduced by a MuleSoft recently basically. Any question? You got it, right? So basically, if you have any question, just let me know. Okay, I'll go to next slide. So this is a two thing which there is one more thing like which is not I feel which is not relevant for now. So MDC logging and this correlation ID is very important. So these are the two bigger changes has been done by MuleSoft in Mule 4.4 basically. Apart from that, it has introduced a various data wave functions. Like it has introduced a new functions like index of, last index of, on null, Then also core annotations introduced within the data wave. Also they have introduced a new module DW core dates. Apart from that, it has added many functions in DW core strings basically. So previously we don't have a substring, right? We have a before substring, after substring, but we don't have this substring by, substring every, So we have count character by count matches. So those kind of functions has been introduced as a part of string. There's a one more important functions which has been a module which has been introduced, a course coercions basically, which is like it shows like how you can. So in Java you have a two string, two date time, like those kind of functions which is not available, right? Within this module, those function has been introduced, so you can easily typecast like from like integer to string by using to string to number, those kind of functions. Okay, it also introduced of like dwutil periods, with it having a lot of functions like durations between those kind of things. Let me show this durations one. Dw core, yeah. So dw, not cohesion, I will say core periods. Basically, if you want to find the difference between two date, right? So we have a function date diff. So there is a function called between. Okay. So you can put two dates. I will put 2021 minus 10 8, which is minus 221 minus 10 minus 10. Let me check. Sorry, it's not minus, it's comma. So it will give like it have a difference of 3 day, right? If I say 22, it will say it have a difference of 1 year and the 3 days. So those kind of output is provided. Okay, so there is other functions called durations. So with durations, basically, if you want to add some duration, if I want to add duration of day, okay, what happened here? I want to add hours. Let me check. Sorry, it's not should be hour, it should be days. There's some problem with syntax. Just a minute. What happened here? Just give me a second. I'm just checking to see if something is wrong. Guys, any doubt on correlation ID till now? Let me check. Just give me a second. I have it syntax for that. I just, yeah. My syntax was right. So no, yeah. So what you can do? So let me do one thing. If I use the date now and plus duration, okay. So if I add days 1, so you can add the days up to 1. So I want to add 1 day, month 1. So it will add 1 day and 1 month basically, into your now date, like that. Then I want to add something like hours, days. I want to hours also up to 1 hour. So it will add the 1 hour in nows. So those kind of operations is available with this DW core periods basically. Okay, so you can just explore those things. So these are very good functions which is provided by a MuleSoft, and it simplify the dates and the period kind of thing. Like previously, whenever you do want to subtract two dates, right? You want to write a lot of logics and all those things. Right now, it directly provide a modules for that basically. Okay. So now I will come to a very, very important concept called transit gateway. Does anybody knows what is a transit gateway? Let's make session bit interactive. Anybody knows what is transit gateway? Hello? Anybody aware of transit gateway? It was recently introduced feature by MuleSoft. Okay, so I will just explain. Basically, transit gateway is nothing. It is act as a cloud router and it simplify the network basically to access between VPC on-premise data center and third-party software. So basically, whenever you want to connect to multiple data center, right? So your network may be a bit complex. With transit gateway, you can simplify your network basically. It generally merge the on-premise and the cloud network into a single network topology. Okay, and you can add multiple transit gateway in your AnyPoint organization. That is completely depend on number of transit gateway entitlement for with your organization. So generally, like I will tell you, so basically, like you may want to connect a resources which is available in your Azure cloud, maybe Azure available in AWS cloud, maybe available in GCP cloud, maybe available in your corporate data center. So if you are not using the transit gateway, your network will become bit complex basically, correct? Your network will be very complex basically. With transit gateway, you can simplify the network basically. Okay, so with transit gateway, you can simplify your network. I will tell you how. Okay, so apart from that, your MuleSoft AnyPoint platform organize support multiple transit gateway. It's completely depend on that what kind of license you have and how many transit gateway entitlement for your organization. So simply, if you want to create a transit gateway on AnyPoint platform or AnyPoint virtual cloud and AWS, like so you like so simply there's a prerequisite. So whenever you want to create a transit gateway on AnyPoint platform, so there must be one VPC exist in your AnyPoint platform, and there must be a transit gateway set up on the AWS, and they must be in the same region basically. So it requires AWS also. So transit gateway can be set up in AWS, and we also provide a transit gateway which can connect, to the AWS transit gateway basically. So one of the main advantage of a transit gateway is simplify the network and merge all network into a single topology, right? So you don't have to create a multiple network. So MuleSoft doesn't have to create a multiple network. So MuleSoft or AnyPoint platform can directly connect to transit gateway, and that transit gateway can connect to the multiple data center or multiple like cloud or those kind of thing. With AWS transit gateway, you can connect on-premise and cloud resources and also establish the connection with direct. So you can also connect direct connect, So there is a dedicated connection available in AWS, dedicated line that is the direct connect. So you can also connect that with the transit gateway. Let me show that. So here it's a transit gateway. So transit gateway can connect to corporate data center via VPN, can connect to direct connect, they can connect to AWS VPC, can also connect to the MuleSoft VPC basically. Okay, let's understand with use case. Okay, so like now like we will take one of the use case where transit gateway fits in the Mule ecosystem. So Acme Inc. is looking for implement a MuleSoft for connecting the below list of resources. So they want to connect a SaaS based application, a software as a service application like Salesforce, like SAP system in private AWS VPC, web services in other private AWS VPC, database in the corporate data center, and cloud. They require a cloud based solution where they don't want to manage the infrastructure, and all the application must be high available and fault tolerance. An application can be accessed by a fewer client publicly. An API must be secure with OAuth JWT, and platform must have a feature like intelligent healing, zero downtime updates. So we will see two solutions, one with transit gateway and other without transit gateway. So you will see the differences. Okay. So its requirement is very simple. They want to connect SaaS-based application. They want to connect the private AWS VPC, and they want to connect a corporate data center. Any question on this particular use case? No, right? It's okay. So this is my simple solution without transit gateway. So where what I will do, so I will have a VPC, prod VPC and non-prod VPC. Non-prod VPC will map with dev and test environment, and prod VPC will map with prod environment. So for public internet, we don't have to do anything. It will directly connect the SaaS-based application which is available publicly. For connecting, like they want to connect two AWS VPC, right? So I have to do the two VPC peering, one with one AWS VPC, one with other VPC. And for connecting the corporate data center, I have to do the VPN IPsec tunneling, right? So those kind of things needs to be done. Let's consider in future I want to connect one more data center. So it will I want to create one more VPN IPsec tunneling with that particular data center. Is this correct? So let's consider if I want to connect more AWS VPC in future. So I want to create more and more VPC peering, right? So this make like one of the thing, like our network is become complex and complex basically. And the other thing, what is happening, like for doing all this thing, like we require to do a lot of configuration in MuleSoft basically for setting up VPN, IPsec tunneling, and all those things, right? So, and we are touching the MuleSoft environment, right? So, but with Transit Gateway, we can completely like ignore those kind of things. Let me see how. So this is my Transit Gateway looks like. Okay. So what will happen? MuleSoft will not connect to any data center or any VPC basically. Simple. So you will create a VPC in your Anypoint platform, and MuleSoft will connect to the only AWS Transit Gateway, and that Transit Gateway and MuleSoft will route the request to all this AWS VPC corporate data center and this via Transit Gateway. Okay. Okay, so connect to that. In future, if I new VPC come, so just we want to make the connection between Transit Gateway and that new VPC. We don't have to do any changes in MuleSoft platform or Anypoint platform. If any new corporate data center needs to connect, that has to be connected through AWS Transit Gateway, right? Like we don't have to do any changes with Anypoint platform. It's simple, and like we are not making a multiple connection between Anypoint platform and your other resources. We have a single connection. From that there is a multiple connection to multiple data centers and multiple resources. So that is how you can simplify your network with Transit Gateway. So see, this is simple use. Why Transit Gateway is important, I will tell you. So let's consider there are some, just let me finish this, okay? Please let me finish this. So why we require Transit Gateway, like why MuleSoft introduced Transit Gateway? Can anybody answer this? See, VPC peering is it's between the AWS VPC, right? We are peering to VPC basically, but Transit Gateway can do IPsec tunneling, can do VPC peering. I will come how MuleSoft VPC is talking to. So like Boris, like you have to do the configuration in MuleSoft, within the VPC you have to set up the Transit Gateway in MuleSoft, and where you have to configure all the AWS Transit Gateway details. Like same you are doing for VPN IPsec tunneling or VPC peering, you have to do same thing. So Ankit, VPC peering is 1-to-1, okay, and that can be done between Anypoint VPC and AWS VPC exist in same region. Whereas with Transit Gateway, you can do the VPC which exists in other region also. You can do the VPC peering which exists in the same region. You can do the VPN IPsec tunneling. You can do the direct connect. You can do many other things with that. Okay, is this answer your question, Ankit? Okay, good. So I will tell you what happened. There are customer whenever they buy the license of MuleSoft, so they have already have a connection set up to their on-premise resources, to all their cloud resources via Transit Gateway. Now let's consider if MuleSoft doesn't support Transit Gateway and they have bought the license from MuleSoft, right? In that case, they have to set up all the VPN, IPsec tunneling, VPN, and everything again. Is this right? Right? They have to set up everything again. So let's consider like I'm a customer, right? I don't have a MuleSoft initially. Okay, I have a AWS cloud. Okay, and I have set up, I have everything in place. I have VPN IPsec tunneling, I have VPC peering, remote VPC peering, I have a local VPC peering, I have a direct connect, and I have a transit gateway which is doing all these things, right? So if MuleSoft doesn't have a transit gateway, what will happen? Again, you have to do all things, like you have to do the VPC peering in your anypoint platform, you have to do the direct connect in your anypoint platform, you have to set up the VPN IPsec tunneling in your anypoint platform, correct? So why you will manage the multiple connection? You are managing some connection at any point platform. You are managing the same connection at a AWS also. So MuleSoft introduced a transit gateway. So simply what you can do, instead of making those many configurations, you simply connect the like AWS transit gateway from MuleSoft, and you will by default you will get the access to all the resources, to all the VPC peer, like all the data, all the corporate data center resources, all the cloud resource. Simple, correct? Is this correct? This is the one of the use cases why a transit gateway is introduced, basically, because there might be requests from a lot of customers. They might be saying they have already transit gateway exist, and which is doing all the connections, basically, right? Is this clear your doubt, basically? Because it's very important, like, so when you will do the foundation of platform setup, this is very important. Basically, you can ask the customer whether the transit gateway is available in your environment or not. If it's already available, you can reuse that connection, right? You don't have to create the multiple connections and all those things. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so nobody's responding. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jackie, we can hear you.
Okay, I am not getting response from anyone, no, so that's why. Yeah. So now we have completed two important topic. So one is like MuleSoft runtime features, and like, so if I can like, so yeah. Now next topic I will go with aggregation module. So basically, with aggregation, like, aggregation module contain different type of aggregator that use the specified to both store and release the value. So basically, it is used to aggregate the data, basically, depending on your time, size, or depending on your IDs, group ID, basically. The aggregation scope is the component that collect those values until a specified condition is met. When it then the executor process a chain of component with list of aggregated element in the payload. So what does this mean? So generally, like, the processor will keep on aggregating the data till the condition match, till the specified condition match. So basically, I am saying I want to aggregate 10 data or 10 payloads, basically. So once it aggregate the 10 payload, then it will complete it. It will mark as a completed, basically. I will show you. So generally, there are three type of aggregator. One is size based, group based, and time based aggregator. So there are three type of aggregator: group based, size based, and time based. Okay, so basically it is used to aggregate the data. So like, so, and it will release those data once the condition, until the condition is satisfied, specified condition is satisfied. So you can do the aggregation on the base of size, basically. So you can define, I want to aggregate the 10 payloads, basically. Okay, so those kind of thing. So aggregated module, size based aggregator scope enable you to aggregate the element until predefined size number of elements completes the aggregation. I will show that also. So simply what happened? So incremental aggregation, do aggregated element reach the max size before the timeout occur? If yes, it will aggregation will complete and it will release the aggregated data, basically. If not, then it will aggregation is reset again to 0, basically. There is a max size field which indicate the total number of elements to be aggregated before considering the aggregation complete. The timeout field indicate that maximum time to wait for the aggregation to complete. So these are the two important field. We will see this. So let me go to Anypoint platform. I will define first exam project, size based aggregator demo. This is test. Okay. Then by default aggregation module is not available, so you can download or you can install from Excel. So this is size based aggregator. So here you can give some name. I will tell you what is the importance of name. Just for now, just give a name. I will say size AGG. What is the max size? So like I will specify I want to aggregate 10 payloads basically. And what is the timeout? So basically if you are not receiving 10 messages within that particular timeout, by default it's -1. Okay, so -1, so it will wait till it reaches the 10 messages. And like this is not good practice if you don't define the timeout, because it will keep the messages in the memory till it doesn't receive the 10 messages. You may specify, sometimes you may specify 200 messages, right? So it's not. So generally you can keep some time limit. By default I will say 10 minutes, or I will say 1 minute, something like that. So I want to receive 10 messages within 1 minute. Otherwise reset this particular aggregator, then logger. So basically it will just log the 1 messages, like it will aggregate the messages. So here I can say output application / JSON. Then I can say payload. Done. Okay. Here, what we have to do once the aggregation condition is completed, what you have to do? Either what you can do, you can create a new flow and you can refer that flow from there, and then it will perform the action on that particular aggregation aggregated result. Okay. Otherwise, you have an aggregation listener. So you will have an aggregator listener. So I will put aggregator listener. So aggregator name. So I want to give this. This is the importance of this name. So basically, whenever it will complete the processing, it will release the message to this particular listener on the basis of this name. Basically, you have to define that name. Then what I can do, I can define a logger. Okay. Here I can say aggregated result plus payload. Okay. Otherwise it will not start because it's running on 8.0, and on complete aggregation complete, like I don't want to do that. I am not using right now this. Like if you are using any other flow, if you want to release the aggregated result to this particular flow, you can use the flow reference and you can just refer that flow. In that case, you don't have to use this name property and this aggregator listener, but it is good practice to use this aggregator listener. Okay, let me run this project. Any question on this? Why it's failed? Let me check.
Hello, Jackie.
You have to put some. Just you have to put something here. Yeah, tell me.
I was telling if the aggregator listener size is less than the aggregator side, base side, like if for you have given 10, if it is 5, what will happen? Like we can keep less size, or like it will be the same?
No, you can keep 5 also. Doesn't matter. You can keep 2 also.
Okay.
But what is your question? I haven't got it. Like max size, you can keep anything.
Okay. No, I'm saying that in the size-based aggregator, you keep 10, like waiting for a 10 message to come, right? Maximum size. But in the listener, also, we have to keep the same size.
No, listener, we don't define the size, right? So everything happens here. In listener, we don't define any size, basically.
Okay.
Just
only the
listener,
name. Okay.
Yeah. Only this name is important. Okay, you got it?
Yes.
Okay, let me test some messages. So I will just send 10 messages. I will send one first. Okay, it logged 1 because of that logger. Let me 2. It is aggregating, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now it will release. So I put the 10 messages. So let me check what happened. Okay, I got it. What's the problem here? This expression is a problem because I'm saying JSON, right? So instead of that, I will show it again. Let me put one more result. Let me save it again. Okay, let me send 10 messages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So I've sent the 10 messages. If you see, and here you will see the aggregated result. So you can see that this aggregated result basically. Okay. So this is my aggregated result. The problem is that I haven't changed it to JSON here basically. So I just put the payload. So instead of that, I want to do the output as a JSON. So generally, result is in the form of Java. Postman.
Jackie, we have two questions.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see the aggregated result here. I don't know why it's not coming again Java.
Actually, you gave us output as Java.
Oh shit. It should be JSON, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not Java, JSON. What is the question?
Yeah. So output is array. So I guess it's yes for Jeevan. So we have two questions from Boris and Ravi. So I can use it, for example, for bulk DB load when I have
Yes.
certain number of process request.
So Boris, you are right. So basically, generally what happened, generally I have seen one use cases basically. So generally people has to send a 30 or 40 records at a time basically, right? So to the database at a time, we can send 40 or 50 records. So from batch processing, what I have done, I have used the aggregator basically. They are receiving some message within some time limit, like they are receiving 40 messages within time limit of 10 minutes, something like that, right? So where this aggregated module is very useful. And you are right, Boris, whenever you want to process, you want to aggregate the 40 messages or 50 messages at a time to the database or Salesforce or NetSuite, you can make use of this aggregated module basically. This is very important. Apart from that, there's one more thing I can show you. So let me finish this. Let me go to console. Let me send few more messages. Okay. What happened? Yeah. It's there. Yeah, this time it's JSON basically. And you can see this is aggregated result, and we got the final JSON output, which is right. Okay. So what is this answer the question? You can basically use that. Ravi Prakash, it will aggregate either based on the size and time lead, whichever occur first. Right, Ravi, you are right. So if you see this particular diagram, right? No. So do aggregator element reach the max size before timeout? It will say aggregated complete. Okay. If it doesn't reach before timeout, let me show that example. So it will mark aggregated is not completed basically. It's not complete and aggregated result. At least it should, if you are defining the time limit of 1 minute, okay, if it doesn't receive the message, 10 messages in 1 minute, right? If it receives the 9 messages, it will not mark aggregated as a completed. All the messages will drop and it will reset. Is this answer your question, Ravi? It will reset, right? It will drop all the messages. If within 1 minute you are not receiving the 10 messages, right, it will drop those messages and it will reset that. So it's better you can define -1 also, which means it will wait for unlimited period of time. Got it? Okay. So what is you can also perform, if you want to release few messages, right? So you can make use of this incremental aggregation. What you can do, so basically whenever I want to perform some action, basically I want to log those. So what I can do, I can make use of choice router. inside this, and I can define one condition. So what is this? Size of payload mode mod 2 is equals to 0. Okay, so what I'm saying, so whenever like what is happening here, size of works without size of I can say payload mod of 2 is equals to 0. So let me perform some action here. So I will create one more flow. Okay, and in this flow I will just log it. Payload. Okay. And let me put one more thing. So I want to output JSON. Here I can use a flow reference. So whenever it will receive the message, two messages, right? So I don't know why size of why it's not working. Suddenly the size of is not working. Guys, any doubt till
More question, Jackie.
what is
As
that?
you said for timeout -1, so Devendra is asking, will it slow down the application performance?
No, it will not slow down the application performance. But if you are not aware like how much time it will take to reach the 10 or like 100 messages, whatever the message size you have defined, right? It will be stored in the memory basically, right? It will be stored in the memory, so it will consume the memory. So to ensure that like if you want to keep the memory for the shorter period of the time, then it's fine. You can define the -1. If you are saying I want to keep 2000 messages for 2 days, right? It doesn't make sense. Is this make sense, Devendra? This size of should work, but I don't know why it's not working. Let me do one thing. Percentage DW 2.0. I don't know why it's not working suddenly. I will write the expression and try to run it. Size of payload mod of 2 is equals to 0. Let me run it. It should work, I think. Okay. So what will happen whenever it will receive the messages of mode of 2? Let consider it received 2 messages. So it will be released for this particular size, this particular flow. So let me save it. Let me check if it's running or not. Yeah, it's starting. I don't know. That is not getting. I think it should be fine now. 1, 2. So if you see it releases the two messages, aggregation of two messages, right? So what is happening here? So it received two messages. So mod of 2 is 0. Then message will be go to this. Now let's consider if I send 2 more, then it will be released 4 messages. Basically, you can see that like 6. So it will release all the 10 messages. So if you want to perform any partial functions, right? So you can make use of this incremental aggregation here. You can put the condition and you can do the partial execution also. So that is also possible with this. Okay. Let me go to next slide. So now we will see time-based aggregator. So aggregator module, like like time-based aggregators enable you to aggregate the element within the predefined time limit. So basically, you can define like I want to aggregate. So whenever like number of messages, like whatever number of messages received in next 10 minutes, basically I want to aggregate all those messages. So this makes more sense. So let me create new project, file new. Let me stop this. New mule project, time-based aggregator app. Test aggregator. So you can put time-based aggregator. So in time-based aggregator, there is a no complete because we are not putting any condition. So it doesn't, by there's a no on complete. So whatever, whenever time match, it will release all the messages basically. So I can put time AGG. So max size is -1. So time is also there is a max size, but you can keep it as a -1. But I will define the time period for next 20 seconds. Whatever message I receive for 20 seconds, you release it. And under this, I will put logger. I will again say output application JSON payload. Okay, so done. Then you can create a listener, aggregator listener here. In this, I will give name as a time AGG. Then I will use logger. Here you can say aggregated result. Here you can say output application /JSON payload. Okay, done. So I will just reduce the size. 20 seconds is too much. I will just make it 10 seconds. Let me start it. Any question? I hope you are understanding, right? Because like I don't think anybody may have used this aggregated model, but this is very useful, right? So it provides a lot of features basically. I will tell you one more aggregator is there, which is very useful when you want to group the message on the basis of some ID, right? Or on the basis of some other thing. You can make use of this also. Okay, so it's deployed. Let me send some messages till second. 1, 2, 3. So you can see after 10 seconds, you will see the aggregated result basically. I'm waiting for that. Yeah. So you can see this is aggregated result. So after 10 seconds, it will show the aggregated result here. So you can see that. Okay. So this is the time-based aggregation, and the last one is group-based aggregator.
Okay, we have one more question from Boris. Scatter gather this may be use case of this.
So see, what is in scatter gather, like we are actually sending the request to the uh, multiple sources basically, right, or to multiple systems, and get when we get the result back from them, then that scatter gather is doing the aggregation for it. So it's altogether different. Here we cannot send the request to other sources, right? In this case, how can you can send the request to other sources or other systems? So basically, if you want to if you want to send 20 or 30 messages together to the some one of the destination, right, to one of the destination, in that case you can use the aggregator, right? What you can do, you just aggregate the 20 messages. In listener, you can define that destination where you have to send the messages. But in scatter gather, it's not like that, right? In scatter gather, you are sending the message in concurrent manner to the multiple destinations, right? And whatever result you get from then you are doing the aggregating basically, correct? So that is the two, these are the two different things, Boris, right? Okay. So base aggregator module, file new mule project, group based aggregator app. I will drag and drop listener. I will say configuration. Okay. I can give this as a group AGG. Here you can define on what basis you have to do the grouping. Here I want to do the grouping on the basis of designation. So I can say payload dot designation. Very important feature, eviction time. What does this mean? So basically, let's consider I received the 10 messages of designation developer or developer. So right, so and it aggregated the result and the send the output to the listener. Within from that, from up to 180 seconds, you cannot send the designation as a developer again for at least 180 seconds, for minimum of 180 seconds. You cannot send the developer again. I will show that example. Okay. So let's consider I have received the 10 message with designation developer. I have aggregated that. I have sent to listener. Okay, listener has processed those messages. After that, or once the message has been released from this group-based aggregator, you cannot send the message with the designation developer for next 180 seconds. You can change this. You can make it 10 seconds also. But default is 180. Okay. So let me do one thing. Yeah, I will just say logger. I will just say logger. Payload. I will use logger. I will use aggregated result. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. So let me start the application. So here I forget to define group size. So I can say 10 or I can say 5 also. Okay. I will say 5. Either you can define the time or you can define the group size. So it's better to define only one. Don't define two. Otherwise you can lose the. Let me send some request with developer. I have put the 5, right? Group size of 5. 1 minute. What happened? Group size expression revolves to. Let me check what happened. I don't know why it's null. Let me run. It should not be null actually. Designation spelling is correct. Payload designation. Yeah, this is right. I defined 5, but it's saying null. Let me check. Okay, good. Everything is good. Let me send. So 1. So I've sent developer 2, 3, 4, and then I will send few architect. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should release the architect now because I've sent the 5 messages for architect. Yeah, I've done one mistake again, as always. So let me do one thing. I want to output in JSON, otherwise it is not visible. Output application slash JSON. Let me stop. Let me run it again. Instead of, I will do some changes, tester, because I cannot send the architect again for 1/82 basically, because that is the eviction time. So let me send tester 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I will send SSE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should release the SSE. It haven't released the tester yet, because for tester it just received the 5 messages, but for SSE it received the sorry, for tester it received only 4 messages. For SSE it received all the 5 messages. As soon as I will send the 5th message for tester, it should release the tester also. So now it has released the tester also. So that is how you can group the messages on the basis of some ID and on the basis of max size, and also you can group on the basis of time and on the basis of this particular ID basically. Any yeah. So this is the 3 type of. No, it should not work for intra-app communication basically. It should not. You can make it work. I so let me think. I don't think you can do it. Even you want to do the flow reference, you can do the flow reference within the same only, and you have to define the aggregator listener within the same application. Yeah. So let me check. I don't think any option is available where you can do the intra-app communication basically. I don't think you can do that. No, you don't have an option. This is within the application only. Okay. So this is within the application, Devendra. Otherwise, simply if you want to make it this as an intra app, right? I have one option for that. So what you can do, so I will show you. Let's see. I have never tried it, but let me try now. You have asked me the question, so I will try it. Right. So I can say test 1. Okay. I will use the same HTTP. From here, I can use HTTP request. So you have an option. You have a workaround for that. So simply I can say post. Okay, and in URL I can simply say HTTP localhost 8081 / test 1, I think, and here I can say output equals to application / JSON payload. Okay, let me check if this works. If it works, then well and good. I think it should work. Let me check this. Let me try. I am trying for first time. So I'll put SE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it is working. You can make use of HTTP listener and HTTP requester, or even I think there is a one more way for intra-app communication. You can make use of VMQ. VM, I think it's publish. Yeah, we do the message publish for VMQ. I will say SQ. Finish. Okay. Here you have to give the queue name. Okay. Instead of this, I can use the VM listener here. And it's good. Let me save it. So this is how you can, even in cloud, you can make use of persistent VM queue, and you can process the message across the multiple workers also. So that is the way. Okay, SC is already 180 seconds, right? We have an eviction time of 180 seconds. Something, it will work with VM. I have done some like, let me check. I've done some mistake in publish. I will make it this as a 20 seconds. What is the error? Let me check. I know what is the problem. Everything is good in listener also. I will make this as a 20 seconds. Try again. One, two, three. See, you can make it of VMQ. Is this clear a question, Devendra? So you can make it work for intra communication also, and even intercommunication also. It is possible. Even like you can configure the different HTTP requester which is available publicly over the internet. You can aggregate the message here. You can send it. Is this clear a doubt, Devendra? Okay, so that is how you can enable the intra or inter app communication also using VMQ or HTTP listener, or even you can make use of persistent queue on CloudUp to ensure that the message is processed between the workers basically. Okay, I hope this clarify all your doubt related to aggregator module basically and transit gateway, and we have seen MDC logging and the correlation ID generator basically, right? So any question which aggregator? Abhishek, as per me, the complete module is the best. Now it's depend on your requirement, right? So it providing a three different kind of aggregator. So like sometimes you may have to aggregate it on the basis of group. So you make use of group based ID. Sometimes you have to make the aggregator on the basis of size, right? So make of size based aggregator, and sometimes you have to make use of aggregator on the basis of like time. You can make use of time based. So there's a nothing bad or best. Like all three aggregator module is good. It's completely depend on your use case, Abhishek. Okay, so Nitish, it's up to you. Like you can start asking the question. I
Sure,
will just
Jackie.
stop.
Thank you. It was a great session. Sorry, I missed the initial part.
No problem. No problem.
Okay. So, guys, any other questions, or shall we go for quiz? Okay. Just a second. Let me start. Uh, So I have pasted the link kahoot.id, so where you can connect the Kahoot. Let me share my screen. My screen is visible.
Yes, Nitish.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, before starting, let me just give a brief how we go with Kahoot game. So here we require two screens. One screen will be getting the question and the options, and here is the time. And second screen, we need to choose the options as per the colors mentioned over here. Like if for the first question we feel like red is the correct one, so I'll press the red here, and that's how it works. Okay, so this is a game pin. '26. So I guess we were 35. So okay, I'm waiting for 1 more minute. Then we'll proceed with the game. Okay, so I'm locking the game. Okay, let's start. No one else can join now. Okay, yeah. So this was easy one, I guess, because Jackie gave a clear, gave a complete discussion on these three topics: size, time, and group. Okay, so let's see the scoreboard. Nitin, Ashish, and Jeevan. Okay, guys, no problem. We have 7 questions, so okay. Okay, so we The names are changed now. Nitin, Dheeraj, and Prasanna. Okay, next question. Okay. Okay, so we have Gautam, Bhaskar, and Jeevan on scoreboard now.
So guys, also please provide the feedback for this meetup after the session. You will receive the link, and you can simply click on that link and you can provide the feedback. And chances to win a $50.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Oh, okay. So we have Bhaskar, Reshma, and Manesh. Okay. So guys, second last question.
So guys, everybody can on their camera also.
Okay. So let's see the scoreboard. Today, winner podium is quite fluctuating. Okay, so Reshma, Bhaskar, and Jeevan.
Simple.
So let's see the podium. Congrats, winners. And guys, please share your personal email address so that we can send you training voucher link.
So guys, please on the camera also, and let me take the screenshot of this podium. Guys, there are some conditions. Let me like for voucher, please make sure like whatever email id you are using for like filling the form, and whatever email id you are giving me, make sure that email id you have a training account with that particular email id. You have to make sure that. Secondly, if you have won the voucher in last 1 minute, not 1 minute, 1 month, so like you will not eligible for getting the second voucher in the same month basically. So that are the some criteria, like so make sure you should have a training account. Just make sure.
So we got a email of Jeevan. Okay.